Back at it. Good to see you again. It is the 12th day of August, 2024. I am Dan Kuntz. It is Monday. You have to bear with me today because the Olympics are over, and I love the Olympics, and it's over now. The next Olympics can't come soon enough, but we got to wait 4 years. But good stuff, especially if you're an Olympic guy like I am, an Olympic fanatic. It's over, but it was very entertaining. And what we have out here is outside of our window that you see behind me is pretty much what we're going to have all day today. We're going to repeat what we had on Sunday. It's very mild. It's 69 degrees, quite a bit of cloud cover, kind of hazy. Relative humidity is at 63%. That does not happen too often around here. Kind of a muggy, hazy morning. We have a red flag warning. It was issued yesterday. It goes until 11 o'clock tonight. So not too much here for the Wenatchee Valley. We've been missing that a little bit, but to the north of us, again, in the upper elevations in the Methow Valley and the Okanagan Valley, Omak-Okanagan area, you keep your fingers crossed for a pop-up thunderstorm. There's still a lot of instability. We're going to cool off quite a bit by the time we get to the weekend, but the next 24 hours are still a little nerve-wracking for those people who keep a close eye on these things, and that includes us. Forecast details are coming up. We will have the news. Very good weekend for pretty much everybody in the world of sports. The Mariners swept aside the Mets, and they did so in convincing fashion over the weekend, including last night on Sunday Night Baseball. Seahawks won their preseason opener, so Coach McDonald is off to a good start. Apple Sox absolutely had to win last night to keep their season alive. They did so, thanks to Quincy Vassar. We'll have highlights of that. So all around a pretty interesting and exciting sports weekend. And speaking of sports, we're getting pretty close to that time of the year. You can, wait a minute, it's mid-August. Why are you going to talk about Wenatchee Wild hockey with Austin for? Well, because we can. Austin Drade, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild, will be visiting with me as they get ready for year 2 in the Western Hockey League. Let's go around the valley with our cameras. There is the Wenatchee Heights camera, quite a bit of cloud cover out there. We actually had measurable precipitation on Friday. First time since mid-June we had enough rain that it actually registered on the rain gauge at Pangborn. Didn't last very long, but it was nice to have on Friday afternoon and in the early Friday evening. Another warm one. We hit 90 yesterday, 93 on Saturday. Our average high temperature so far this month of August, 94.6 degrees. It's been a warm August, but again, we'll be below normal by the time we get to the end of the week, almost borderline comfortable. From our Wenatchee Heights camera, we head on up. We talked about the Omak-Okanagan area. That is pretty spectacular. Look at that. Look at the sun beaming through the clouds. Good morning to Pateros, Brewster, Bridgeport, Alto Lake, and the areas to the north of us. Again, they have a much better chance of a thunderstorm today than we do. We have just the slightest chance of a little bit of thunderstorms. The farther north you go and the higher in elevation you go, the better chances you are of having a pop-up thunderstorm or an additional shower. Again, a little nerve-wracking for this time of the year. Bear Mountain, I just checked the air quality in and around the Lake Chelan-Manson area. It's moderate, which isn't bad. It has been worse. There's Wapato Point from our Bear Mountain camera looking out towards Manson. They dropped a ton of retardant on the Pioneer Fire. They were able to do that with those big, ginormous planes full of retardant. The fire is pretty much above the Stehekin Village area, burning in pretty tall timber, but they were able to use the big planes and drop the red stuff all over the fire over the weekend. So a bit of a sigh of relief for those people up in the Stehekin area. And to Black Mountain we go. We say good morning to Leavenworth, which is right down there between the trees. This is high atop Beshaston, looking almost due west towards Leavenworth. And the Cascades, looks like they don't have quite as much cloud cover up in the Bavarian Village as we have down here. The National Weather Service issued a red flag warning yesterday. They extended it to today. There you go. It's the pink splotch that you see on the right, and this is what I was talking about. The Methow Valley up to Mazama, certainly a good portion of the Lake Chelan area and up into the Omak, Okanagan, Orville area, Republic. This has been extended until 11 o'clock tonight, so heads up there. Red flag warning continues. Again, it just kind of misses the Wenatchee Valley. It misses the Columbia Basin entirely, but basically the east slopes of the Cascades and the northern part of our state, not out of the woods yet. From the National Weather Service, lots of haze today and clouds hit and miss through the sunlight, and it's going to be warm. High of 90. Our normal high is 88 for this time of the year. A little hazy overnight tonight. Little wind, not a lot, but a little wind in the overnight hours. 62 for the overnight low. That's mild considering we're at 69 right now. It's going to cool off kind of nicely. Haze again on Tuesday, but we'll see a little more sunshine. On Tuesday, it's slightly cooler with a high of 86. Again, a little wind possible Tuesday night, 61 for the overnight low. Then we have some sunshine in typical August weather, 89 and 90 for a high Wednesday and Thursday. Then another short wave begins to work its way in on Friday. We're going to cool down to only the mid-80s on Friday with very pleasant conditions, and we'll have quite a bit of sunshine on Saturday and Sunday with very little chance of rain with highs in the lower 80s. So the cool down is coming by the time we get to Friday, but we got to get to Friday first. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll let you know what's making news on this Monday. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Swung on and hits on a hop past the shortstop. The Wenatchee Apple Sox are in the West Coast League playoffs, and NCW Live Channel has you covered. Join us for the divisional round this Sunday at 6:30. Coverage is brought to you by Apple Valley Honda, Harvest Valley Pest Control, Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, Together for Youth, Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center, and the Wenatchee Valley Technical Skills Center. Join us for the playoffs on the NCW Live Channel. Third with a hit for slide.
Enjoy the sounds of summer from your very own pool and spa. Blue Lagoon is now scheduling pool installations for this summer. Call today to schedule a free consultation for a custom San Juan fiberglass pool. And let the experts at Blue Lagoon handle the construction, installation, and regular maintenance. Turn your boring backyard into vacation paradise this summer with industry-leading San Juan pool. No need to go off the deep end. Relax knowing you're in great hands with Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa.
The family at the Epladolin want to help your loved one feel at ease in their new home environment. Epladolin offers beautiful one-bedroom and studio apartments. Residents enjoy 3 delicious home-style meals a day, laundry service, housekeeping service, and encouragement to make themselves cozy in their new home. Epladolin welcomes your family to come and visit their family. Epladolin, independent and assisted living. They make the complicated easy for you. Call today for a tour.
Hey there folks, Blueberry Carrie here to invite you on out to experience Blueberry Hills. Of course, the food is fabulous, like our cheese splints, our famous French dip, our legendary Eggs Benedict, and unforgettable burgers. But we're more than just great food. People come from all over the world to experience what's been called one of the best destination restaurants in the Pacific Northwest. So come on out and see what all the fuss is about. Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's where the world is coming to.
Popcorn type clouds out there. It's going to be hazy, hit and miss with the sunlight. High of about 90. Don't forget a red flag warning for just a little section of the north central Washington area. But to the north of us, you got a chance of some pop-up thunderstorms during the warmest part of the day. It's 9 minutes after the hour. A caregiver charged with sexually abusing an elderly patient has been acquitted of that crime. A Douglas County jury took less than 3 hours on Thursday to find 19-year-old Luis Hernandez Orduno not guilty on a charge of indecent liberties. Back in January, sheriff's deputies alleged that Hernandez inappropriately touched a 78-year-old dementia patient at the Bonaventure Memory Care Facility in East Wenatchee. Hernandez was suspended from working at Bonaventure after his arrest. One other staff member allegedly saw the incident and testified during the trial, which only lasted 2 days. If he was convicted, Hernandez could have been sentenced for up to 10 years in prison. Instead, he was acquitted. Most races unchanged in the latest vote count. They had the latest vote dump on Friday, but the 7th legislative district, one spot in the November ballot, may be in play. Sue Ing Moody is the former mayor of Twisp. She moved from 3rd place into 2nd place against the frontrunner Andrew Engel to serve as a state representative from the 7th district. Ing Moody's new 26.6% showing puts her less than a percentage point ahead of Tonasket City Council member Tegan Levine. More ballots will be tallied Wednesday of this week. Counties have to certify their results to the Secretary of State by August 20th. The vast 7th District includes all of Okanagan and Douglas counties, as well as 3 precincts inside the city of Wenatchee. The Wenatchee Valley Humane Society has temporarily halted cat adoptions for at least a couple of weeks following the discovery of a cat virus in the shelter. Panleukopenia can be fatal to cats. It is highly contagious. On Friday, the Humane Society notified shelter volunteers of the exposure, and they announced that only official staff members will be allowed in the cat housing areas during the foreseeable future. Adoptions are scheduled to resume on August 23rd if these preventative measures, in fact, work out. The Grant County town of Moses Lake has a hard time holding on to a mayor. It's without a mayor again. Alan Dupuis announced his surprise resignation at a city council meeting on Wednesday after serving just over a year as mayor of Soap Lake. Dupuis and the council came to an impasse after he was denied access to an executive session where his performance as mayor was to be discussed by the council. Dupuis' resignation brought the Wednesday meeting to a halt, but the council reconvened to continue its business without him on Thursday. He was Soap Lake's 3rd mayor in the last 4 years. And Velveteen, a fancy new restaurant with its theme drawn from the classic children's book, The Velveteen Rabbit, will have its grand opening on September 3rd. It's a reservation-only restaurant. It'll feature a tasting menu and is located right next door to the Liberty Theater on Mission Street. Our own Casey Safford caught up with the owner and head chef Kim Munson to hear what she believes will set Velveteen apart from the local restaurant scene.
So Kim, tell us how the idea for this restaurant first came about.
Actually, I've had the idea for a long time. So I love the story of the Velveteen Rabbit since I was young. And I love the cute little, love makes us real theme of the book, and how the rabbit in the book wanted to be real, and he just kept going, and no matter what happened to him, he just would not stop believing in the fact that one day he would be real. And it really resonates with my own personal experience of things that have happened to me before I got to this spot where I am right now.
All right, so tell us about what kind of cuisine you'll offer here. Can you give our viewers a sneak peek at what kind of things your menu might hold?
Yeah, we are a tasting menu, and I call it a dining experience because when you come here, whatever that monthly menu is, it's a changing monthly menu, and whatever that month is inspired by, the whole menu and your drink menu, everything, the music will all revolve around that theme. So it's the whole experience. So
will you be allergen friendly here, or as a tasting menu, is it going to be a bit harder to be able to accommodate that?
It is hard, but as much as we possibly can, we've asked that people, of course, get hold of us prior to making their reservations and have a chat with us and see if we can accommodate them. But we try as much as we can.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so is this going to be reservation only?
Reservation only, and the earliest is like 3 days away. So, and there's a reason for that. The menu is very extensive. It takes a lot of time to prepare it, and everything is very fresh here. Nothing's going to be held over to the next dinner or anything. Everything that you eat is prepared for you fresh, and so we can't really accommodate people just walking in. So yeah, it's definitely just a reservation only,
All right, so tell us a bit about the kind of personal experience that you aspire to create here for all your customers.
Well, over the years, I've seen, for me personally, I feel like I see a big decline in service and making the customer feel special, and that we're here to serve the customer, and it's part of something that brings me joy. I like serving the customer, I like to see them enjoy the food. I love to give them the best service. I like to read the table, and figure out, and that's what I teach my wait staff. Read the table, figure out what they want. Do they want you to talk to them? Do they want you to leave them alone? Is it a romantic date? And you shouldn't have to ask for anything. We should just, just kind of appear when you need something. I mean, that's really good service, you know.
So when did you officially open online for reservations?
Well, we officially opened up August 1st, but there was a little blip in the system, and OpenTable accidentally put our reservations out there prior to that.
Oh no.
And that's where there was a big confusion in town, and people were calling and they were telling me, oh, you know, I made a reservation tonight, and I'm like, what? And so we still are having some issues even now. There's some buttons on Google, reservation buttons, that say that I have nothing available, and it's not correct. So if you go on the website, it works, but they're working on fixing that too. So I've got a couple issues going on.
Okay, so customers should maybe wait a little bit before trying to jump online for reservations.
You know, it works on the website, but not on the Google reservations.
Okay. So my last question for you is, what would you like to say to all the potential customers you have watching at home? What is the one thing that you feel they need to take away from this, knowing about Velveteen?
That you can come here and really know you're going to have a great experience. I promise you're going to have a great experience.
I, for one, am hungry, and that's what's making news. On this Monday morning, we have a great news staff. They're going to get together today. They're going to gather the news, disseminate the news, decide what is the news, and then send the news your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight on the NCW Life Evening News. 5, 6, and 10 on television. That doesn't fit into your schedule. It'll be up and running right around 5 o'clock, courtesy of the internet. It'll be in our homepage, ncwlife.com, our Facebook page, our YouTube page. We have an X, we have an Instagram. We got everything. We even have a song in our heart. And if you haven't downloaded our app yet, we have one of those. There's the QR code right there on your screen. Download the app and enjoy. Let's see, Mariners win, Apple Sox win to keep their season alive. Seahawks won a game that doesn't count. We're going to have all of that for you when we come back with sports. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCW Life. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCW Life channel.
When you buy tires at Les Schwab, you're getting more than just tires. You're getting America's best tire warranty, 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. So if something happens to your tire on the road, we'll fix it, or we'll replace it, no questions asked. Other places make you pay extra for that kind of protection, but at Les Schwab, it's included with every set of tires, because more warranty means less worry, and nobody stands by their tires like Les Schwab. Get more from less.
A ductless unit from Carrier can keep anyone comfortable. Take Shelly, for instance. She finds me time in her new attic-turned-home gym. And with her Carrier ductless unit, the temperature is always perfect. No matter how intense her workout gets. Carrier. Total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
Sports at 19 minutes after the hour. Cal Raleigh had not one, but two home runs. Louis Castillo struck out 9. The Mariners complete the sweep of the Mets. 12-1 the final last night. The one run allowed in the 3-game series. That's right, the Mets only scored once over 3 games. That ties a team record, and the Mariners' 11-run margin of victory is the biggest so far this year.
Do the breakdowns, but I am going to let you center. Nimmo left center, and it is caught out there by Arozarena. What a play by Arozarena with Robles cutting right in front of him.
This is exactly what the Seattle Mariners wanted when it comes to defense. How do you make a team better? Yes, you add offense, but you also add speed.
One strike. Rivas swings, sends this one to right. It's going to get down. Polanco had to wait, held up at third, and RBI for Leo Rivas. It's 5-1 Mariners on Rivas' RBI single.
This right here. Ryan Stanek was able to get out number one, hoping he can get her on the ground. Could not. Run scored, and Seattle Mariners not taking anything for granted. Go station to station.
Back up the middle, and it is fielded by McNeil. Not in time. It gets by Alonso into the dugout. It's going to bring in a couple. 7-1 on what was going to be an infield single, and compounded on the throwing error from McNeil. Careful for Raleigh, who's already got one. He steps in, and another one. Cal Raleigh, a 3-run shot, second of the night, and he jumped on another first pitch. Man, oh man, the big dumper in 2 pitches, 2 homers. Taylor with a second punch out, and a proud family of Taylors here in Seattle.
Seattle's got another one.
Got another one. That'll give you chills.
That's been their strength, right? Pitching, we saw that. We saw the defense. They addressed the hitting, and tonight, 12 runs with 12 hits to be able to sweep the series against the New York Mets.
You can tell there's a special feeling starting to brew here in the coffee capital of the country, Seattle, with Robles and Julio back and Randy running around.
Mariner catcher Cal Raleigh told the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball crew his approach at the plate hasn't really changed since Little League.
Just usually trying to get ahead early in the count. I don't want to fall behind, so just something I've been taught since I was, young, be ready to go first pitch. So we know that, our pitching we're heavily relying on our pitching. They're great. Our starters, we go with those guys, and our bullpen's also great. So, when we can score some runs, put some runs on the board, and, cause some chaos on the bases, things like that, it kind of sparks some offense. We know that we're a really tough team to beat, and we know that pitching wins championships, and New York Mets are a good team. You got veteran guys over there, and he did a really good job getting to the top of that zone with the fastball today, and mixing the slider when he needed to. But really, it was the fastball today that got us through, and really only made one mistake. So he was solid all day, and competed in the zone. It's quite the nickname. I don't really know if there's any negatives besides nobody calls me Cal anymore. It's just big dumper around Seattle. So I guess pros. It's a funny thing that fans can attach onto, and it gets them involved.
Needless to say, manager Scott Service was quite pleased with how the weekend went.
Our guys showed up to that great effort, fun ball game. Certainly, like I said, a lot of excitement in the ballpark, just a great vibe, and credit to our players. We had a great series. We caught the Mets on the back end of a long road trip on the West Coast, and you got to take advantage of that. We certainly have been on the back end of long trips on the East Coast. So, again, every night I start with our pitching, and the Rock was awesome. And when that shadow starts creeping across the middle of that field here later in the season, it's really tough. It's tough to see when you got the kind of movement that Luis Castillo has with his pitches. It can be really devastating. I thought he threw the ball great. They had some traffic against him, but he made pitches to get out of it. He gave the one run, the only run we surrendered in this series, which is remarkable to do that against a pretty good deep offensive club. Offensively for us, obviously, Cal, huge day. 3 hits, the 2 bombs. I think Polo looks outstanding right now. He's doing things in the batter's box we haven't seen him do all year.
Seattle has today off, and then a long road trip. A 9-game road trip begins tomorrow in Detroit when they take on the Tigers. It's a good thing the Mariners have won 4 in a row, because guess what? So have the Astros, including a weekend sweep at the Red Sox. So there you go. The Mariners dominating the Mets. Astros, no real problems with Boston. Yankees choked up a big lead, but they hung on to beat the Rangers. The Angels got by the Nationals by 2 runs and the Athletics dispatched the Blue Jays. Sam Howell throwing for 130 yards and a touchdown in his Seattle debut. Seahawks had a successful preseason opener. Under their new coach, Mike McDonald, they beat the Chargers 16-3 on Saturday night. It's also Jim Harbaugh's first game with the Chargers. Our own Eric Granstrom was there and filed this report.
Well, the Seahawks got off to a 1-0 start down here in L.A. against the Chargers, knocking off the Bolts by a final of 16-3, and 13 of those points scored in the second quarter. Sam Howell actually looked pretty good. Geno Smith was not even a mention in this one because he is still banged up a little bit, and they wanted to get Sam Howell a good look, and boy, did he get a good look. Howell finished the game on the night 16-27 with a touchdown, and that touchdown was to Brady Russell, who finished with 3 receptions for 25 yards in the game. The Seahawks, dominated this one. The big question was about Mike McDonald's defense and how that would look, and I'll tell you, it looked pretty darn good. The time of possession advantage for the Seahawks, 39 minutes to 20, 325 yards of offense to 198, and a lot of that was garbage time down the stretch. So the Seahawks 1-0 in the preseason. They'll head to Tennessee this week to take on the Titans. In fact, take them on during the week, too. They've got a couple of practices with Tennessee before the game on Saturday. Then Seattle wraps up the preseason at home against Cleveland at Lumen Field. Again, here in L.A., good start for the campaign for Mike McDonald and the Seahawks as they get the win over the Chargers by a final of 16-3. Here at SoFi Stadium, I'm Eric Granstrom on the NCW Live Channel.
Thank you, Eric. We appreciate it very much. As Eric already mentioned, they're going to be in Nashville to take on Tennessee. They're leaving a couple of days early. They're actually going to practice against the Titans for a couple of games before they play Saturday at 4 o'clock on King 5. A little closer to home, Quincy Vassar tossed his second complete game of the summer, and the Wenatchee Apple Sox defeating the Victoria Harbor Cats 9-1 Game 2 of the North Division Series last night at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. Vassar only surrendered 1 run, struck out 8 hitters over 9 innings. He threw 118 pitches. Our own Eric Granstrom and Brandon Schmitten had the call right here on the NCW Live Channel.
Crowd mic is obviously picking up one of the crowd here at Paul Thomas. Infield drawn in here with runners at second and third. Pitch swung on a chopped off the plate high. Third baseman Fields, his only play is at first and out at first base. But an RBI for Morisaki as he drives in Larson on the play. The Apple Sox lead at 1-0. Tall lefty ready. The pitch on the way. Swung on, a hit hard, and that's a fair ball down the left field line. That's going to go all the way to the fence. Cam Hoyland, or Evan Floyd, rounds third, chugging for home. The big fella crosses the plate standing, and the Sox lead at 2-0. Runners at first and second hold. Pitch swung on and lifted in the air to left center field. Going to drop down for a base hit. Grounding third and hitting for home. Here comes the throw. Going to be cut off. Standing and scoring is Castagnola. Apple Sox extend the lead to 3-1. I tell my wife that all the time, because I'm taller than you think. But the circumference kind of takes away from it. Pitch on the way, swung on, a fly ball to left center field is going to drop in for a base hit and score probably 2 as the throw comes in. It's cut off, sliding hit first safely. It's Jonathan Fitz. The Apple Sox extend the lead by 2 runs here in the 5th inning. Hoyland back and ready. Pitch to him. Swung on a hit hard. That's going to get through for a base hit. And they're going to try to score the run. Right fielder up with a ball. And no throw coming into the home plate area. Ball got away from the infield. Now they're going to try to score another. And he is out at home. 3-1 the count to Cam Hoyland. Back in the left-handed batter's box. Pitch on the way to one. Swung
that's
on a well-hit ball to right field. And this one will go away. Cam Hoyland. You could almost tell that one off the bat.
Yeah, for sure. That was hit hard.
0-2 count. Pitch swung on and missed, and another strikeout for Quincy Vassar. That is 8 strikeouts on the night. Back to the top of the order for the MVP for the Harbor Cats this summer, Michael Crosland. 1-0 to Crosland. 1 out here, or 2 outs in the inning. Pitch on the way, swung on the
There
ground
we
to the
go.
shortstop, and they'll flip the
There
second.
we
to the
go.
out, and a complete game victory for Quincy Vassar. He goes 9 completes and gets the win, and what a job.
The Apple Sox lost Saturday in walk-off fashion, 4-2, but last night they pulled it off, so we're off to Game 3 tonight. 6:35, Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. The winner will advance to the North Division Championship game. If the Apple Sox win, it'll host the game against the winner of the Bellingham-Edmonton series. They're also headed to a third game. Not so much in the South. Portland swept Bend and swept them easily, winning last night 16-6, and Corvallis got the better part of Ridgefield 12-5. So the South Division Championship game is set. It'll be Portland at Corvallis. If Wenatchee wins tonight, they will host either Bellingham or Edmonton for the championship game of the North Division. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. On this 12th day of August, happy Queen's birthday in Thailand. I had no idea they had a royalty in Thailand, but apparently they do. It is Heroes Day in Zimbabwe. Thought I'd throw that out there. It's Middle Child Day. It's World Elephant Day. We're not doing any of those. Today we celebrate the vinyl record. Thank you very much, Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison created the phonograph. There was something kind of like the phonograph that was invented by a Frenchman about 20 years later, but it didn't really work very well. Thomas Edison's did, and then came the record player. 10-inch vinyl was first, and then 33 1/3 RPM discs in 1948 by Columbia Records, and then 45 RPMs by RCA. And then, of course, out came compact discs, which were introduced in the market in 1982. That slowly led to the decline of vinyl records. In fact, a couple of the major record companies stopped making vinyl altogether by the early 90s. But guess what? Vinyl is back. Vinyl never went away for me, of course. That's silly. Why anybody would get rid of their records is beyond me. And of course now the number of records that are being sold in this country are surpassing compact discs again. I like that. And I love my records. So when I found that today was National Vinyl Record Day, no brainer, we're gonna do it. All right. It's 33 minutes after the hour. August 12th, 1492, after 9 days at sea, Christopher Columbus arrived at the Canary Islands off the northwest coast of Africa. As you see that map there, the Canary Islands are right above Chris's head. That was their first stop for one last shot of supplies before they headed over the Atlantic Ocean. Unfortunately, the folks who lived in the Canary Islands had no acquired immunity to all those nice little endemic diseases that Chris and the crew brought with them. So the Canary Islands got to go first. They got to see Chris and the crew. He left them all with all kinds of endemic diseases before he cruised on over to the Caribbean and it whipped a little disease on them as well. So people think about all the endemic diseases that Christopher Columbus and his crew introduced to people who had no immunity in the Indies and in the Caribbean. Actually, the Canary Islands got to go first. I'm sure they were real happy about that. Happy birthday to the direct descendant of the computer that you work today. The IBM personal computer is released August 12th, 1981, 42 years ago today. It started, the basic computer that you see there, $1,565 was the list price for that computer. That's equivalent to $5,327 today. That's a lot of money for a computer that was, pretty awesome in 1981. Of course, the biggest thing is that the IBM personal computer was not compatible with Apple's computer, the Macintosh. But then along came Bill Gates and Paul Allen and Windows, and well, we all know what happened after that. So the majority of today's personal computers are a distant descendant of that, which you could go to your local computer store and buy 42 years ago today. Kind of looks like my first computer. I was going to show you the footage of this. We don't have the time, unfortunately. Just, when you get a chance today, just go on YouTube and just type in Braves Padres Brawl 1984. This was ugly. I mean, really ugly. It was in Atlanta. It was hot. There was a 2-hour rain delay before the game even started, which led to a lot of beer drinking in the stands. Pascual Perez, the starting pitcher for Atlanta, Very first pitch of the game hits Alan Wiggins of the Padres in the back. Every time Pascual Perez came to bat for the Braves, the Padres pitchers kept trying to hit him. Finally, in his fourth at-bat, they did hit him. There were 2 bench-clearing brawls. 7 fans were arrested. 19 people were ejected. Both managers were ejected. Their assistant managers were ejected. And the San Diego Padres' 3rd manager was ejected. They ran out of coaches. It got so ugly and so bad. Now, this was not a regular baseball brawl. This was an ugly, nasty brawl, throwing haymakers. Eventually, by the end of the game, towards the end of the game, the umpires ordered everybody who wasn't playing into the clubhouse. The benches were emptied. You had to go into the clubhouse unless you were playing in the game. 40 years ago today, one of the ugliest baseball brawls of all time. 39 years ago today, the single worst crash in aviation history. Japan Airlines Flight 123 crashes in the hills of Japan. It is the worst single-plane air disaster of all time. Here is Tom Brokaw from the NBC Evening News.
The wreckage of a jumbo jet can be seen scattered across the mountains. A specially configured 747 loaded with more than 500 people at the peak of one of Japan's most popular travel holidays.
50 bodies have been recovered, and it now seems fairly certain that only 4 people survived the crash. They were in the rear of the plane. They are a 35-year-old mother and her 8-year-old daughter, a 26-year-old stewardess flying as a passenger, and a 12-year-old girl. The current theory is that the right rear door on the plane came off, hit the tail section, and threw the 747 out of control. The pilot turned the crippled plane to the right toward Yokota Air Force Base. He had been given permission to make an emergency landing there, but after flying an erratic path, the plane crashed into the mountainside. Most of the search and rescue effort has stopped for the night. There is now only the faintest hope that any more survivors will be found.
The plane was being tracked by a United States Air Force base stationed in Japan. They told the Japanese authorities exactly where the plane had crashed. There was still about a half an hour of daylight left, so they went up in helicopters and they found the wreckage, and they said, "You need any help, Japan, with the rescue operation?" And Japan said, "No, we got it." And then they didn't wait until the next morning to actually go to the crash site. And many dozens of people died overnight of their injuries waiting to be rescued. And the summer of '94 sucked because it was 30 years ago today that Major League Baseball players go on strike. They would win this strike in April of 1995, but from August 12th, 1994 on, no more baseball, including the playoffs and the World Series. And the Mariners were playing really good baseball back in 1994. In '95, of course, they made the playoffs, but we'll never know. Speaking of baseball, happy birthday in heaven. I believe me, Christy Mathewson is, if there's a baseball heaven, Christy Mathewson is there because he was known as the Christian Gentleman. One of the first 5 inductees into the Baseball Hall of Fame, served his country overseas in World War I, damaged his lungs permanently because of the poison gas that was used on the front. He died in 1925 at the age of 45, the great Christy Mathewson. John Cazale only acted in 5 films in his entire career. Every one of the films in which he appeared was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. First The Godfather, then The Godfather Part 2, then alongside Al Pacino in Dog Day Afternoon, The Conversation, a great movie, and finally his last movie, The Deer Hunter. A remarkable record. Only 5 films, and every one of them nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture, and 3 of them won. Finally, Pete Sampras is 53 years old today, 7 Wimbledons, 2 Australian Opens, 5 U.S. Open titles, and he went out the right way when he beat Andre Agassi in the 2002 U.S. Open final. He subsequently retired. He said, "It doesn't get any better than this." Pete Sampras is 53 years old today. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor. By golly, that's Alpine Air. We love Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. You saw the forecast. It's going to have a cooling trend towards the end of the week. Might be a good time to turn off your AC and have Alpine Air take a look at it, just in case you think something might not be on the up and up. I mean, who's kidding who? This has been a tough summer for our air conditioning units. Alpine Air for heat and air. Mike McNaughty was once a hippie. Don't believe me? He'll tell you all about it. And then it's time to talk wild hockey with Austin Andrade, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. He'll be joining me when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel. Braden, we talked about lifestyle investor. Where does one even begin that process? Because it seems to me that there's, again, you don't want to put everything in one bucket or you're just hoping for the best. It's basically gambling with your money. How does one begin the process of becoming a lifestyle investor?
Well, I think like we have a process, we call it prosperity planning, and one of the meetings that we have when we're going through like a full fee-based financial planning process is we have a thing called a clarity experience. And so we're gonna sit down with our clients, and we're not just gonna go through an investor calculation on risk or an investor profile like you would say, like most advisors or investment advisors would do. We're actually gonna go into morals, values. What was the relationship of your mom and dad? How did they deal with their money? What do you want 3 generations after you? What do you want the money situation, the business situation, the life situation of your kids? What do you want that to look like? And that all goes into, you know, morals and values, and are we crystallizing those goals and objectives at a really, really high level? Do you want to just transfer valuables, or do you want to transfer values? You have to go into it at a deeper level when you go into really in-depth generational planning. And that's what we do with our clients, is we have that clarity experience. And so once we get that clarity experience and we understand what is valuable and what they want to accomplish, we can align the money really, really easy. Once we know this, we can align this really, really easy. And a lot of times it's done backwards. So we'd like to start here with that clarity experience.
Hey, this is Mike, Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, a gal I took out on a date once, her parents laughed at me. Well, they didn't laugh at me, but they laughed later on about me after I brought their daughter home. Now, their daughter, she was a nice clean-cut girl, kind of the girl next door kind of gal, and I was a hippie, long hair, short, shirt untucked, and a clothing style that could only be called alternative. Well, I guess I was not the kind of boy that they thought their daughter would attract, and they found me amusing. Well, I wish I could run into those folks now. I'd like to see those people look them in the eye and say, yeah, I was a slob then, and I'm a slob now, so your amusement is justified. Yep, this is Mike, Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody's entitled to my opinion.
Welcome back to the program. Thank you, Doc Severinsen and the NBC Orchestra. Of course, Doc will be opening for Phyllis Diller at the Sands Casino in State Line, Nevada. Coming up in a couple of weekends, it's time to talk about wild hockey. My guest needs no introduction. Hey,
Hi.
Austin.
Hi.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Austin Andrade, broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. How's your summer going, bud?
It's going good.
What do you do between early May? Is that about when the season? I mean, I know you guys work for a couple of solid weeks after the season wraps up, and then what? It's off to your hammock and your book club, or what do you do?
There's a little more free time during the summer, but we're working on all the things that we will want done before the season starts, so we're not scrambling and trying to tie up loose ends during the season. The more we can get done during the off season, the easier it makes the season for us once we get going.
And this is a lot less hectic than last year when all of a sudden, oh, we got a WHL team. You didn't have a schedule. You didn't have much of anything except a team.
It was kind of frenzied for the start of the last off season, but no, we've got things pretty well dialed in this year. We know the routine, especially now now that we're past mid-June when the announcement was made last year. Now we can kind of see, okay, this is where things need to be in the off season. This is when things need to happen. So we've got a pretty good routine dialed in now that we've had most of a summer to get things figured out, and we had a good chunk of last summer to get things taken care of.
And it also helps that the foundation is there. I mean, you're back. Bliss and Gretchen aren't going anywhere. Clarkey just signed a 2-year contract extension, so Chris Clark isn't going anywhere. That helps. Been there, done that. We get it. So when the new folks come in, like the new coach, the new assistant coach, it makes that transition that much easier, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, having the chemistry in the office between everybody, we know each other. We know the habits. We know the schedule. We've got a good rapport with each other as we always have. It makes things a whole lot easier during the summer to get things done and to enjoy getting things done.
And how did we land this coach, baby, the new coach, Coach Don? This is sweet. This is a find.
Well, actually, he's got some connections to the Wenatchee area because his son Dan played here the first season that the Wild were in the BCHL in 2015 and 16. He played here for a year, and his family has spent a lot of time in Washington. Don has been a coach in Spokane and Tri-Cities and Seattle over about a 20-30 year period. So he's got a lot of connections here in Washington. His son played here obviously before a pretty good NCAA career at UMass Boston for 4 years. So he's well known to our group, and our group is well known to him. So having the chance to bring him in and having a chance to work for him over the next however many years, hopefully it's quite a while.
Was he on Bliss and the Whites' radar almost from the beginning? Hey, if we can get Coach Don, let's get him.
I think that was the hope from. I don't know how early. I'm not sure how far back those conversations went, but I know having him come in was definitely something we were hoping to have happen, and we're glad to have him.
They're here. They've settled in. They found a place to stay. He's getting ready to adopt his style to the Wild style, and where these two things meet, the success that Coach Don has had and the success that this franchise has had, is they like to win. They like to win hockey games, and a lot of them
like to win hockey games and work hard doing it. I think the work ethic and the compete level for these guys, you know, how hard they're going after it, how much they want it, I think is going to be huge this season. I think sometimes you talk about intangibles with teams, and a lot of that comes down to their compete level, things you just can't measure. And I think Don is going to really teach that for the guys. I think that's something he's going to get the best out of them over the next season.
And we have a new assistant coach. His name is Dan Johnston, and you talked about things that you can't see. Dan's specialty is things you can see. He's been a video expert for a long, long time.
He's been working in video, and he was doing the behind-the-scenes team services the last couple of years for the Calgary Wranglers up in the American Hockey League. So he's been the eye in the sky for a few teams over about a 5-year, 6-year period. So he's going to know exactly what he's looking for. Now he'll get a chance to see it and teach it from the bench level, and I think he's going to do a great job for us in the new spot he'll be working from.
How did he land on our radar? Was it something that Coach Don said, hey, this is guy I think is a real up-and-comer, or how did that work? How did he fall into our lap?
So he did work for Don the last couple of years up in Calgary. They've known each other for a little while, so I think it'll be a natural fit bringing him in and having him work with somebody that he knows and gets along with pretty well.
And one more change to the front office in the offseason. We have a new equipment manager. And people don't understand, hockey is there's a lot of gear in hockey. There's a lot of gear, and that's why they need a full-time equipment manager. And now you have Garrett on board. Talk about that.
Yeah, Garrett Hoagland spent a few years in the ECHL. He spent some time with the Minnesota Wild in the NHL just when he was coming up. He was with them for, he was with them as a teenager, kind of as a dressing room attendant, and then worked his way up to helping out with the equipment management staff in the NHL. So he's seen it done at the highest levels. He knows how that works, and he's taken that onto the ECHL the last 4 years or so. Has been part of the All-Star Game festivities when it was in Norfolk a year or two ago. So I think he's going to be a great fit. I'm looking forward to it because he's a fellow Midwesterner. He went to a school in Minnesota. I grew up in Iowa, so hopefully he and I'm sure we'll find common ground right off the bat, but he's going to do a great job for us.
Let's eliminate a significant myth and misconception about equipment managers. People go, oh, what do you throw the pads in the van and then take them out when you get there, and isn't that about it? No, oh no. There's a lot of logistics that goes into this job.
There really are. You're maintaining equipment. You're taking care of skates. You're taking care of jerseys. You're taking care of all the uniform and all the equipment stuff. But you're also keeping track of inventory, finding out what's going out, what's coming in. So there's a lot to keep track of. And once you get a hold of what's there, you're the one taking care of it too, and you're the one getting it set up and ready to go for the players to use it in their trade.
And the last thing the players need to worry about is the equipment. They got other things to worry about. And a lot of them get a little, like baseball players, they can get a little, what's quirky about their gear? I guess that's the way to put it.
That's one thing. I think sticks are probably a perfect example of that. One thing that I think you learn fairly early when it comes to hockey, once you start digging into the equipment that the guys use, is those curves that are on the sticks. Those are customized for every player. Every player has a certain curve. They call it a lie that those guys like on their sticks, and every player has their equipment that they like, the way they like it. Sticks are just one example. So the guys are fairly ritualized, if that's the word, for how they handle their equipment, how they like their equipment taken care of. So. The guys have their own quirks and superstitions, and the equipment managers always do a good job of taking care of those, so that the guys like what they're working with.
Time for our viewers to dig out their Google calendars, because Austin's going to give us some key dates for the Wenatchee Wild season. I know it's only August, but there's some things you need to know about, because before you know it, the quilts will be gone, the ice will be down, and they'll be skating. So give us some of the key dates that people need to remember as we get closer to the Wild season.
Some of the key dates are going to be Thursday through Saturday over Labor Day weekend. That's when the guys will actually be on the ice for camp games and that sort of thing. We'll have the schedule coming out on that in a little while, but the players will come in, vets first, and then some of the younger guys over the few days before that. The preseason home game, September 7th, that's Kids Day against Tri-City, so we'll have T-shirts for the first 400 kids. We'll have fun for kids of every age, because it's hard not to be a kid when you're watching the greatest sport on ice. But no, that's $12 for any seat in the bowl for adults. Kids 12 and under will get in for free. And September 21st, 2 weeks after that, we're bringing in Seattle and starting the season off. 34 home games in this building. Game number 1 will be here before we know it.
And there's 5 preseason games too, as a matter of fact. I think the first one's on the 7th. It's a pretty compact preseason schedule, and they don't go crazy with that. You don't play 25 preseason games, you play like 5, and that's all these guys need.
Yeah, we'll play 4 of those on the road. We'll go over to Everett and play Sunday the 8th, so as soon as we're done with the game on Saturday, we'll be packing things up on Sunday morning and heading over to Everett for a 4:05 start there, and then 3 games in Kennewick for their annual showcase tournament that they have the week before the regular season starts. So we'll get a chance to play, I think, 4 of the 5 U.S. Division opponents. So we'll get a pretty good look at what the rest of the U.S. Division has to offer, and we'll get a pretty good look at what our guys have to offer before we make final decisions on who's going to be around for the full season.
And it's amazing the fact that we have this wonderful facility here at the Town Toyota Center, but we got 2 rinks. And that's critical. We got one thing that's dedicated just to skating, so they can put on other shows like what's going on behind us, the Quilt Show, and the Wild and other people can still use the other rink. A lot of facilities don't have that at all, do they?
Some of them do. We'll actually play in the practice rink for Tri-City when we go down there for their showcase event. But a lot of teams have that one rink that they play in, or they have to use another rink off-site. So to have 2 rinks in this building, we can use the same locker room, same facilities, even if they're setting up for a concert like will be the weekend that we're down in Tri-City. You can just make a different turn out of the locker room door, head over to the other rink, and stay sharp over there for the next game.
There are specific games that are going to be more popular than other games. That's just the nature of the beast. Get online, buy your tickets, WenatcheeWildHockey.com. Individual game tickets are on sale yet or not?
Those will go on sale August 26th.
August 26th for individual games. You can cherry pick them. There's packages. You can rent. You can rent a suite. You can do group packages. There's all kinds of different. They want to make it as easy as possible for you to come to a Wenatchee Wild game.
Absolutely, and we've got our 3-game packs. If you buy the 3-game packages, do it through the office, do it over the phone with us. We can get those tickets locked in for you, even though the single game tickets for those nights may not be on sale yet. We've got the home opener on sale and the Kids Day on sale. The rest of the games will go on sale August 26th, unless you've got those packages. We've got packages for our Saturday games, for our Sunday games. We've got our Fred Meyer Sunday Fun Day deal back again, so we'll have more details coming out on that. But a nice single game package if you're a Fred Meyer Rewards member, card holder there. So we've got a lot of if there's a certain team that you like out of the U.S. division. I know these are real popular for the folks coming in from the other U.S. division teams because they want to follow their team into our building when they go on the road.
And they do.
And they do. If there's a team in the U.S. division that you like to see, we've got ticket packages just for our home games against those teams. So we've got a lot of options, and we're glad to help fill up the Wolves' Den and get people in to see a game.
Here's a quick idea. It just came to me for a promotion. I know almost all the promotional nights have already been spoken for. That's one of the biggest things. It's an easy sell for the businesses and the organizations to do the promotional nights because everybody loves them. Bus giveaway night, because you haven't sold the bus yet, right? The old bus?
We have not.
Bus giveaway night. You bring the bus right on the ice between periods and you draw a name and they get to win a nice big diesel bus.
How much would the raffle tickets be?
$1,000 a piece. You know, just thought about it. How you doing for anthem singers, by the way?
Anthem singers, I know we're working on bringing people in, but I'm sure we'll always take more.
I'm always available, you know.
Tenor, baritone, bass?
Yeah, kind of a baritone bass kind of a thing.
Soprano?
Quick heads up though, when I sing the Star Spangled Banner, I do all 4 verses. Takes about 7 minutes. Just a heads up on that. Austin Drade, everybody, give him a big hand. Why do you put up with my nonsense? Maybe you don't. Maybe as soon as we stop rolling the tape, he's going to go, God, that Kuntz is a jerk. Austin Drade, WenatcheeWildHockey.com, everything you need. It's good to see you, my friend. And we'll do our regular get-togethers as we get closer to the season, right?
Definitely.
Provided that I still have a job, because he ain't going anywhere. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
When you've been in business for 40 years, it's because you understand change and you put members first, always. Now Works is announcing a change in their membership model. Up to 6 people on one membership that you can mix and match. The more people, the bigger the discounts. Introducing the Works shared membership model. One membership, friends and family and flexibility. Works, the cleanest, friendliest, most helpful gyms you and your friends will ever join.
68 degrees here in the big city, a little clearer than it was about an hour ago when this show started, but it's still going to be kind of hazy. We still have the red flag warning that's going on until 11 o'clock tonight. Most of it to the north of us, especially in the Medhow Valley and the Okanagan Valley. You have a much better chance of thunderstorms up to higher elevations, that kind of deal. So we have about a day and a half to have to worry about that. Then we calm down, and then we have another chance, a brief chance, over the weekend. From the National Weather Service, one more time, here's your forecast. About 90 today, which is about normal. Our normal high is around 88. We hit 90 yesterday. So basically just like we had on Sunday, we're going to do it all over again. Maybe a few more clouds than we had by the time we get to late afternoon today. Hazy tonight, overnight low of about 62, a little breezy at times. Hazy on Tuesday, but more sun than haze tomorrow, with a high of about 86, 89, and 90 on Wednesday and Thursday, and then we cool down. I could live with that. How about the mid-80s by the weekend? That's it for us. Have a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.